Hello everybody, Mr. E here, and welcome to another episode of Mr. E Talks Movies, the series where I go over the various movies that I've seen and I go over them and give my own opinions about them. And as always guys, I'd like to thank you all for the support that I've been getting for this channel and this series, and feel free to subscribe so that you don't miss any more videos, and like the video and comment down below if there's any movies that you'd like for me to do next. And so, without further ado, let's get into it. I can't believe I am 10 episodes into this series. That is awesome. Already, the series became quite a big hit. These videos tend to get a lot more views than my Let's Play videos, so yeah, it's quite the turnout, actually. And so for my 10th episode, I thought I'd do something special. Yep, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, one of the biggest movies that has ever exist, one of the biggest fan bases in the history of fiction. That's right, I'm talking about the one, the only, Star Wars. Yeah, I was really into this stuff as a kid, and I still am. I watch a lot. I still watch the Star Wars movies regularly. I play a lot of the Lego Star Wars games, a lot of other stuff. Watch the TV shows and all that. I was never much into the books though. I'm not that much on reading. Yeah, of course, the Star Wars movies are on the list. Literally the first item on page 1. So, yeah, I just put in Star Wars there because I'm pretty sure we got the gist of it. I got the whole series on that list. And by the whole series, I mean episodes 1 through 6, Rogue One, and Solo. And, as of this video, I have not logged the Star Wars sequel trilogy on the list because, well, let's face it, those movies are not very good. They're poorly written, they have absolutely no plan whatsoever, and they're notorious for ultimately screwing up the entire franchise. So, yeah, it's a good thing they managed to, I don't know, steer the franchise in the right direction with series like The Mandalorian and the Boba Fett one. So yeah, so we're gonna start talking about Star Wars for this episode, more specifically the first one that released back in 1977. Became one of the best-selling movies ever made and became an instant smash hit. As this is gonna be a really fun movie to go over. So let's get into it. Alright, we're gonna ditch the notebook this time. So, yeah, I don't need it. I know this movie by heart. I can pretty much memorize, I pretty much got the whole movie memorized. Heck, I've even seen this movie more times than my own father has, so this is gonna be interesting. So, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, starts a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, where the galaxy has been divided into a big civil war, and there's like two sides to it. One, you got, of course, the good guys. They're the Rebel Alliance. They're the guys that are supposed to fight the bad guys and restore freedom to the galaxy. And then you got the bad guys, the Galactic Empire. Space Nazis, basically. So anyway, the rebels have a secret base, and with their, forces, they managed to, win their first battle against the Galactic Empire. And during that battle, some spies managed to acquire secret data tapes for the Empire's super weapon, the Death Star, a space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. So of course, the ship that's holding the Death Star plans, so of course, is getting chased by one of the Empire's spaceships, the Star Destroyer, and of course, the person that's tasked with Of course, you get a member of the Rebel Alliance, a girl named Princess Leia, played by Carrie Fisher, who has like a cinnamon bun hair, kind of, when the hair on the sides kind of look like cinnamon rolls. Anyway, she has to go to her home planet in order to deliver the I don't know, Death Star plan, so that they can destroy the big super weapon. So we got the little spaceship that has like a bunch of the good guys. They're zooming through space, shooting lasers at this much bigger spaceship that's also shooting them. And then as they're kind of shooting at the little one, they kind of cut to the inside of the spaceship, where we're introduced to two new characters, a couple of robots, or droids as they're normally called in the Star Wars universe. We got C-3PO, played by Anthony Daniels. He's kind of like a humanoid golden robot, and we got R2-D2, a little, I don't know how to describe it. He's like a little. He's like a little round. He's a little rounder, and he mainly just talks with just a bunch of beeps and boops or whatever. When the rebel ship kind of, I don't know, gets stopped or whatever, and the Star Destroyer comes up and kind of abducts the little ship, where of course you got a bunch of the rebels. They're running through the hallway with guns. They're waiting at the hallway, waiting for the bad guys to show up. And then the door explodes, and a bunch of the Imperial soldiers called stormtroopers, they come in and they start blasting everyone. It's very hectic, very very good opening scene. Lots of really cool special effects and explosions and lasers and everything. That's cool. And also during that big shootout, we're introduced to the movie's villain, a big and tall cyborg guy with a very cool helmet and a very cool outfit, and he kind of has a weird breathing thing, like, and his name is none other than Darth Vader. This is Darth Vader. Look at that. Doesn't he look cool? Yeah, I bet he does. Anyway, Princess Leia is there, and of course, there's no way they're gonna go back to Alderaan. That's the planet they gotta go to in their state. So So she gets the Death Star plans or whatever. He kind of slips it into R2-D2, the little droid, and kind of just gives R2 a message that he has to bring out to somebody. And so the ship gets captured. Darth Vader strangles a guy and interrogates him, but he accidentally kills him. I mean, that's what you get for strangling the guy. And eventually the stormtroopers, they capture Princess Leia, and of course she's taken prisoner with the Empire. All the meanwhile, you got 3PO and R2. They're kind of sneaking through the ship, and 3PO's talking to R2 like, "Wait, where are you going, R2? We can't go here. This is," and then R2's like, "Yeah, whatever, man. I gotta get to my secret mission. We gotta sneak into this escape pod or whatever." And 3PO's like, "What secret mission? What are you talking about?" And so they hop into the escape pod, and it kind of escapes the ship. Now, of course, the Imperial guys, they notice it, but they don't shoot at it because there's no life forms, because droids aren't alive. And then they end up falling into they end up landing on this desert planet called Tatooine. And so, before we get to that, we have to talk about what happened to Leia. Leia's there surrounded by stormtroopers, and then she meets Darth Vader, this guy. And then Leia's like, yeah, hey Vader, how's it going? Yeah, this doesn't look like it's gonna be good for your, I don't know, personal record or whatever, considering you attacked a diplomatic ship. And then Darth Vader, voiced by James Earl Jones, by the way, epic guy right there, and he's like, yeah, whatever, man. There's like several beings were sent to the ship by rebel spies. I want to know what happened to the Death Star plans they sent you. And then Leia's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I am a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. And then Vader's like, take her away. So yeah, they're keeping Leia prisoner, and they're gonna use her to try and figure out where the rebel base is. And so, yeah, we got it. And they figured out that the Death Star plans aren't on the ship, so they must have assumed that they kind of snuck it into the escape pod that just went out. Yeah, we get to R2 and 3PO on the desert planet. They're kind of walking a little bit through the big desert, and a little bit of an argument later, they kind of separate ways or whatever. They go through two different directions, but that doesn't really matter because they're soon reunited from certain circumstance. You see, these since they're droids, they're kind of just out on the desert on their own with like no resources or anything. But eventually they get abducted by these little people with hooded robes called Jawas. Yeah, apparently these Jawas, they kind of find droids or scrap parts in the desert, and then they kind of just take them into their big tank contraption, and then they sell it to people on the planet. So yeah, R2 and 3PO then go there. They're in the big tank thingy. And you get while the stormtroopers are on the planet combing the desert, trying to find the planes in the escape pod, and they don't find them, but they do find out that there were droids in the pod, so they got to track the droids. Speaking of the droids, we see them next on the tank. They stopped in a rinky-dink little, I don't know, moisture farming settlement where, I don't know, they're waiting to get sold for the Jawas to sell them to. And so they were then introduced to the movie's protagonist, Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill. Anyway, he's there with his uncle Owen. They're buying the droids, and they buy 3PO because he's kind of has like a universal translator or something. He's used for talking to I don't know, gadgets and gizmos and whatnot. And then they don't get R2, unfortunately, but the droid they did buy, he kind of exploded a little, but don't worry, he comes back in The Mandalorian. Anyway, they end up buying R2 too, so yeah, Luke is then tasked with cleaning 3PO and R2. He's in the house cleaning the droids, and he gets acquainted 3PO and R2. He learns that the droids were used to work with the rebellion against the Empire, and it was pretty interesting stuff. But then while Luke was cleaning R2, I don't know, the R2 suddenly, I don't know, shows off a hologram of Princess Leia. That she's there, and she just keeps going, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." And Luke is like, "Yeah, who is this?" And he's kind of worried. He's kind of worried for her, so they kind of, I don't know, try to figure something out about it. But it doesn't last very long because while you got Luke, and he's there having having dinner with his Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. They're sitting and they're talking, and they're like, yeah, I stumbled upon a recording while I was cleaning. And I think R2's old master was a guy called Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I wonder if he's like connected to this old hermit that I met a couple times in the desert. His name was Ben Kenobi. I wonder if they're like relatives or something. And then Owen's like, nah, he's probably dead. You should probably like, I don't know, get their memories wiped or something. All right, sure. All right, a little bit more talking, and yeah, the thing about Luke is that, you know, he doesn't want to stay in the desert forever. He wants to have like a big adventure, you know, go see the galaxy, be a pilot, that kind of thing. And we get to one of the most, I don't know, aesthetically beautiful parts of the movie, where Luke is standing there on the sand dune, watching the binary sunset, while a really cool John Williams orchestral piece was showing off. We'll love the music in these movies too, by the way. Anyway, it's a little bit at night, or it's getting into night. Luke tries to, I don't know, go back to the droids, but here's the thing. R2 is not there. Yeah, he kind of ran off looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, you know, it's very dangerous going through the desert at night, because, you know, they got all these crazy guys called Sand People, or Tusken Raiders, or however you call them, so they have to wait until morning. So morning comes, Luke and 3PO hop onto one of those, I don't know, it was like a sand speeder or whatever. They travel through the rocky areas of the desert planet, where I don't know, they're kind of being spotted by a couple of those sand people, like I just mentioned. You know, they're kind of weird looking. They have like these weird bandages all over their heads. They have like little cylindrical eye holes and, I don't know, weird mouth things that kind of look like Bane, sort of. Luke and 3PO eventually catch up to R2, and he's like, where you going, man? You gotta stop with your absolute nonsense. But then, out of nowhere, they kind of, I don't know, encounter the Sand People. So, yeah, one of them, the Sand People kind of knock out Luke. 3PO, I don't know, falls somewhere and loses a limb or two, and R2's just hiding. And so, yeah, Luke is unconscious. You got all the Sand People. They're kind of going through Luke's speeder, kind of looking for something valuable. But then all of a sudden, a guy in a robe starts coming in, makes a big hollering noise, and the Tusken Raiders kind of shit themselves, and then they run off. And that guy, none other than old Ben Kenobi, played by Alec Guinness. And Ben's talking with Luke, and he's like, "Yeah, what are you doing out here anyway?" And then Luke's like, "Yeah, it's this droid here. You know, he's says he's looking for his former master. His name was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Do you know who he's talking about?" And Ben's like, "Obi-Wan Kenobi? Oh, I haven't heard that name in a long time." And he's like, "Oh, so you know him?" And Ben's like, "Of course I know him. He's me." Yeah, apparently Ben Kenobi is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so afterwards, they kind of pick up 3PO, who is, like I said, in pieces. They kind of put him back together back at Obi-Wan's house, where they talk about Luke's father. So, yeah, apparently Luke's father and Obi-Wan used to be these, I don't know, space wizards called Jedi Knights. They used to, you know, be big peacekeepers, you know, be guardians of peace and justice, and you know, they're pretty cool guys, and yeah, they used to fight in this thing called the Clone Wars, which we'll get to another time. And so They kind of talk about Luke's father for a bit, how he was a good pilot, great warrior, good friend, and Ben's like, "Wait, that reminds me, yeah, your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough. It's kind of a laser sword thing called the lightsaber. It's what Jedis used to do. Yeah, they used to use these to, I don't know, be the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy. But then the Empire came along and fucked it all up. And Luke's like, now that we're on this topic, whatever happened to my father? How did he die?" And then Ben's like, "Okay, Obi-Wan, calm down. This was inevitable. You can do this. Just tell him the truth. From a certain point of view, of course." Yeah, I used to have this student. His name was Darth Vader, and he kind of went bad, and he helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. He also betrayed and killed your father. Yeah, he kind of went. Yeah, Vader kind of went into the dark side of the Force, and Luke's like, "What's the Force?" And Ben's like, the Force is what gives the Jedi its power. It's an energy field created by all living things. He surrounds us and penetrates us and binds the galaxy together." And yes, he says that in those exact words. Like I said, I remember this movie by heart. And so we get to, when Ben kind of gets to R2's message, Princess Leia's message that, she has for him. And you got Princess Leia's there, and she's like, "Hey, Obi-Wan, yeah, I know you're like a good friend of my father, and I need your help. You see, I've been tasked with bringing you to Alderaan to kind of like help us, I don't know, do this thing. And the R2 has information vital to the survival of the rebellion, and you need to make sure that stuff gets to Alderaan. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." And then Obi-Wan thinks for a moment. He turns to Luke and he goes, "You must learn the ways of the Force if you were to come with me to Alderaan." And then Luke's like, "Wait, I don't want to go to Alderaan. I gotta get home, man. It's late. I'm gonna get into a lot of trouble." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, man. I'm gonna need your help, man. She needs your help. I'm getting too old to do this by myself." And then Luke's like, "All right, I can help you find a pilot that'll, I don't know, take you there or something." Yep, we get to the next scene where we get to the big super weapon, the Death Star, where you have all these Imperial officers sitting at a table talking. And they're like, "Yeah, even though we still have this big operation, we kind of like underestimate the rebellion. They're a lot more dangerous than you realize." And then the other guy's like, "Yeah, we don't care. We've got this thing. We can crush them." And they're like, "Yeah, whatever. What do you think the Imperial Senate is gonna have to say about this?" And then Darth Vader, alongside this classy dude, his name is Grand Moff Tarkin, or just Tarkin. He's played by Peter Cushing. Anyway, he's there and he's like, "Yeah, the Imperial Senate doesn't exist anymore. The Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. Yeah, from here on out, the galaxy will be run primarily on fear, which is why we have this thing." And the guy's like, "Yeah, but what about the rebellion? If they actually do have the Death Star plans, they could, I don't know, find a weakness in this Death Star and use it." And then Vader's like, "The plans you refer to will soon be back in our hands." And then the other guy that's there, he's like, "Yeah, whatever, man. Any attack they do will do jack because is this thing, this Death Star is awesome. And then Vader's like, don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force. And he's like, yeah, whatever, man. Your, I don't know, religion or whatever, it hasn't helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes. It helped you find the Rebels' fortress. And then Vader's like, shut up! And he kind of chokes the guy without even touching him. But, he lets him go because, Tarkin's like, enough of this bickering. Lord Vader will provide us with the location of the Rebel fortress by the time this station is operational. We'll kill the rebellion then. So we cut back to Luke, the droids, and Obi-Wan. They're still on the desert. They find one of those, the tank things from earlier with all those Jawas, and they find out that all the Jawas there are dead. Yeah, that took a real dark shift real quick. And they find out, who did all this, And then they kind of piece things together. Like, these are the same Jawas that sold us R2 and 3PO. And these blast points, too accurate for sand people. Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. And I'm like, oh man, as you may know, stormtroopers are known for having terrible aim in the movies. But then, in all seriousness, Luke's trying to figure things out, and I'm like, why would Imperial troopers want to kill Jawas? And he kind of thinks back to, R2 and 3PO, and they're like, if they trace the droids here, and they've learned who we sold them to, and that'll lead them back. Oh! And then he hops on his land speeder, and then he kind of rushes back to his house, back to his home, and only to discover that the place has been the place kind of burnt down, and it's very sad. What was even sadder was that you got the two skeletons there, like just outside of the place. They're sad. Luke's, family was just, guardians were just murdered, and there was nothing that he could have done. And so he goes back to, you got Obi-Wan and the droids there, and then Luke's like, alright, you know what? Due to certain circumstances, I have decided that I am going to come with you to Alderaan. I'm going to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. So now you got Luke, Obi-Wan, and 3PO and R2. They're going through on Luke's speeder, and then they find themselves in the big, Tatooine city of Mos Eisley. It's filled with, it's kind of like a wretched hive of scum and villainy, as Obi-Wan put it. So they're kind of driving through the town. There's like a lot of people there, lots of alien creatures running about, and then they get pulled over by some stormtroopers that are there. They kind of ask a couple of questions, and then one of the stormtroopers is like, "Let me see your identification." And then Obi-Wan's there, and he's like, "You don't need to see his identification." And then he's like, we don't need to see your identification. These aren't the droids you're looking for. These aren't the droids we're looking for. We can go about our day. You can go about your day. Alright, get out of here. And so they kind of stop outside of a cantina, And then Luke's like, how did we get past those troops? I thought we were. And then Obi-Wan's like, the Force can have a strong influence on the weak-minded. Luke and Obi-Wan go into the cantina. The cantina doesn't allow droids, so 3PO and R2 have to wait outside. And the cantina is like, there's like some really nice jazz playing by some aliens, and there's like a whole bunch of different aliens throughout. And I really like this. You got all these really cool designs. You got, I don't know, a bat face. You got like a devil. You have a hammerhead guy. There's like a whole bunch of different fun little alien people. And so yeah, they're waiting at the bar. Obi-Wan is talking with it's a hairy person. It's someone who's like really, really hairy. It's a Wookiee. His name is Chewbacca. Yeah, a character that needs no introduction. One of the most memorable characters in the franchise. Yeah, while Obi-Wan's talking to him, some brutes are in the bar, and they're like, yeah, we don't really have a reason to be bullying you right now, but we're gonna bully you now. And so they try to threaten Luke or something, and they kind of throw him. And Obi-Wan kind of sees that, and he kind of takes out his lightsaber, and he kind of murders the two guys. It was brutal. And everyone's fine for the most part. Most of the cantina goers just ignore everything that's going on, and you got Obi-Wan, and he's like, yeah, Chewbacca over here is first man on a ship that might suit us. And so yeah, after that, we are then introduced to another memorable and very, very, very fan favorite character in the Star Wars franchise, Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford. He's like, yeah, hi, I'm a pilot. I was told you needed passage to the Alderaan system, and it seems like my ship has the capabilities of such tasks. It's called the Millennium Falcon. It's super fast. It can do it did like the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, which is kind of a big feat. Oh, and for those that don't know what the Millennium Falcon looks like, here it is. There it is. It's on my shirt. What do you think? I've been saving this shirt for this video. So yeah, it's interesting. So they kind of tell him the situation. Yeah, we have just passengers, me, the boy, 2 droids, no questions asked. And it's like, what is this, some kind of local trouble? Yeah, and he's like, Ben's like, yeah, I think it's the best idea to just stay out of the Imperial's way. And then Han's like, yeah, it's gonna cost you a little extra. Yeah, that'll be 10,000. And then Ben's like, all right, tell you what, we'll pay you 2,000 now, and we'll give you 15 when we get to Alderaan. So 17,000. That's a deal. You got a deal. Dock and Bay 9 to 4, and then they'll like, we'll meet you at the dock or whatever. Yeah, luckily Luke and Ben managed to leave the cantina before Imperials managed to scout the area for Obi-Wan's 2 counts of manslaughter. And yeah, you got Han and Chewie still sitting there, and then he's like, 17,000. This is gonna save my neck. Let's get going. And as we all know, Han is in lots of debt from this big gangster, this crime lord named Jabba the Hutt. He's a big slug guy. Anyway, Han's leaving the cantina, but then he's met by this green alien guy named Greedo, and And he's like, hey man, how's it going? Hey, tell me what, you got Jabba's money? Yeah, Jabba sent me. He wants his money. Give me the money and I'm gonna shoot you. And he's like, oh, come on man, just give me a little bit more time, alright? And then he's like, yeah, whatever man. I've been waiting to do this for a long time. And then I was like, yeah, I bet you have. And they kind of do like a quick draw thing, depending on which version you saw first. In the original version, Han shoots first. In the DVD version that I own, Greedo shoots first. Or the special edition, the one from the late 90s. Or in the Disney Plus version, they both shoot at the same time. Anyway, my conclusion, Greedo, yeah, he's dead. And so, now you've got Luke, Ben, 3PO and R2, Han, and Chewbacca. Chewie for short. And, they're kind of prepping to leave the ship. They're on the way to the ship, and, there's a scene, or it's a deleted scene, whatever. It depends on what version you watch. The version I watch is usually the one I have access to, the one on Disney Plus, obviously, and you got a poorly rendered CGI Jabba the Hutt there, and he's like in Han's ship, and he's like, Solo, where are you? And Han's like, hey Jabba, how you doing? And listen, I don't have the money with you right now, but I do have a job that I'm doing, and with the money I will get from said job, I will pay you back plus the 15% interest. So yeah, just give me a little bit more time. And Jabba's like, all right, but if you fail me again, I'm gonna hunt you down, man. You won't be able to go to a planet with a person on it ever again. You hear me? And he's like, yeah, whatever, man. And then you got Luke and Ben. They're kind of going through the spaceport, trying to go to, the Millennium Falcon, where they try and make their marks, unaware that there was a dude with an elephant snout kind of just following them around. And then he kind of goes in the thing, he's like, hey, Imperial Stormtrooper guys, I found them. Get over here. And then Luke and Ben, they see the Millennium Falcon for the first time, and Luke's like, what a piece of junk. And so yeah, they board the ship, everything's all hunky-dory, and then the Stormtroopers show up and they start shooting the place up. Han's there with his gun, and he's starting shooting some of the guys too. Pew, 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 pew. And then he gets in the ship too, and he's like, Chewie, get us out of here. And they, strap themselves in, and the ship kind of just takes off out of the plant, leaving Tatooine for, the rest of the movie. And maybe all the next one, but yeah, we haven't seen the last of Tatooine. But then they, do a hyperspace jump, where they take the one ship and they go through the galaxy to try and get to Alderaan faster. Well, while they're kind of going through space on the way to Alderaan, but speaking of which, you got the Death Star, the bad guys, Tarkin, and he's like, yeah, we're not getting any information from Leia, not even the interrogation droid will do anything. And Tarkin's like, wait, I have an idea. Since this station is now fully operational, why don't we use a different form of persuasion? And so the Death Star makes its way to Alderaan, the planet they have to go to. And they have Leia there. And Leia's like, hey, Tarkin, how you doing? Recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board. And then Tarkin's like, yeah, whatever. I'm sorry that, I found it very hard that I had to, that I signed the order to have you executed, but whatever. Oh, before we do that, I'd like you to, be a guest at this big ceremony thing. Tell you what, since this station is now fully operational, we're going to test this this station's destructive power on your home planet, Alderaan. And he's like, and then Leia's like, wait, you can't do this. We're a peaceful planet. We don't have weapons. And then Tarkin, he's like, yeah, all right, tell you what. You tell me where the rebel base is, and we'll let your planet go. All right, so what's it gonna be? Where is the rebel base? And so Leia tells him that the rebel base is on Dantooine, not to be confused with Tatooine. They're completely different planets. And then Tarkin's like, all right, cool, thanks for that. But we're still gonna blow up your planet anyway. Yeah, Dantooine is too remote to be making an effective statement, but we'll deal with them soon enough. Yeah, pretty impressive special effects. You got a bunch of guys on the computers kind of going through stuff, and then you got the Death Star. It's got like a big super laser that kind of shoots this big laser at this planet, and it just explodes real big like. And then it cuts back to inside the Millennium Falcon. You got Luke doing his, I don't know, lightsaber training, and you got 3PO, R2, and Chewbacca playing space checkers. And that's good. And Obi-Wan's there, and he's like, I just felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. Yeah, we get a bunch of, I don't know, nonsense or whatever. You got R2 beating Chewie in space checkers. Chewie gets pissed, obviously, and Luke has his lightsaber. You got Luke there. He has his lightsaber. He has like a little remote ball floating around him, shooting little lasers at him. He's got to deflect the lasers with his lightsaber as a way to, like, I don't know, use the Force or whatever. And then, so, yeah, that's not working out. And so Obi-Wan kind of gives him a helmet with a big, I don't know, flap or whatever that kind of obscures his vision. And you know what? The results are a lot more effective, actually. So, yeah, they show up, they kind of come up on Alderaan, and then they're like, hey, we're heading for Alderaan. We better, I don't know, get ready for, I don't know, whatever. Or so they thought, because once they got out of hyperspace, Alderaan was not there. Just a bunch of rocks and whatnot. And they're like, where's Alderaan? Where is it? And Obi-Wan's like, it was destroyed by the Empire. And then they find one of those short-ranged Imperial fighters. They're called TIE fighters, because they kind of look like bow ties if you look at them. Anyway, they're following the fighter, and they head for. They see that it's heading for a small moon, and then Obi-Wan comes to realization that it's not a moon; it's a space station. I've got a bad feeling about this. I'm sure you should too. They kind of get nervous. They try to, I don't know, turn the ship around, but the Millennium Falcon gets caught in a tractor beam. And the point is, Millennium Falcon is now been captured and is now inside of the Death Star. Of course, you got a bunch of Imperial stormtroopers around it. You got Darth Vader is there. Mentioned like around that time that you got, of course, you got Tarkin and Vader there, and then the Imperial officers like, yeah, we went to Dantooine. We did find a base, but it was deserted a while ago. So, and they're like, oh man, she lied to us. We gotta kill her. And then when they find out that the same spaceship from Mos Eisley showed up, Vader's like, all right, you know what? Maybe she'll still be of use to us. Vader's there looking at the ship, and he's got the guys there, and they find out, yeah, there's nobody on the ship. yeah, there's no droids near either. And so Vader's like, yeah, get a scanning crew here. Want every part of the ship checked. Wait a minute. I feel something. Something I've not felt since. Yeah, you got stormtroopers patrolling the place. Yeah, there's no one there. Or so they thought. Because as it turns out, all of the good guys are hiding under the floor of the ship. I don't know. Han uses it for smuggling. And, they kind of knock out they kind of get some stormtroopers to sneak onto the ship, and then they kind of just shoot them, steal their armor. So you got Luke and Han, they're now in stormtrooper disguises, and you got Ben and Chewie and the two droids there. They go into the control room of the hangar or whatever. They kind of shoot a couple of the guys, and they're like, hey man, we're trying to like keep a low profile for this, And he's like, and Han's like, yeah, whatever. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around. R2 kind of hacks into the system, into the main computer, and they kind of find that tractor beam thing that's kind of holding the ship. Apparently, if they were to turn it off, it will allow the ship to leave. And as long as that thing's going, the Millennium Falcon, cannot leave. And so, yeah, Obi-Wan's like, yeah, I gotta do this. You guys gotta stay here and watch out the droids. I'll do this myself. And so yeah, while Luke and Han are doing a small argument, R2 finds Princess Leia in a holding cell, and they find out she's gonna be terminated. And then Luke's like, oh shit, Leia's gonna die. We gotta help her. And then Han's like, what are you talking about? I didn't want any of this. This is more than I bargained for. I can't do this. I can't help you rescue her. Well, now that you think about it, the reward for rescuing her would be pretty good. I guess I can try and help him rescue her. And so, yeah, Han agrees to help Luke rescue the princess. Chewie's there too for some reason. So yeah, they're both sneaky. So yeah, you got Luke, Han, and Chewie. They're there, still in the stormtrooper disguises, kind of going through the Death Star, making their way into the detention area, where Princess Leia is being held. Of course, you got the guards in the area, and they're like, what's that big hairy thing? What is that? It's a prisoner transfer? And it's like, I wasn't notified. I better. And then next thing you know, Han, Luke, and Chewie just start grabbing the guns, and they just start shooting everybody like Rambo, shooting all the security cameras, and they're like, all right, there, everyone's dead. Let's make our way to where the princess is. And then, of course, Luke is there, kind of trying to get the princess out of her cell, and you got Han, he's sitting, this is one of my favorite parts, you got Han going through the intercom, talking to one of the Imperial officers that kind of run the whole place, and they're like, hey, everything's under control, we had a weapons malfunction, but we're all fine here. But of course that didn't go very well, so Stormtrooper squad is going to come up, and they're going to get screwed. So finally Luke and Leia finally meet for the first time, and Luke's there and Leia's there, and she's like, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? And then he's like, oh, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you. I got your R2 unit, I'm here with Obi-Wan, so let's get. While that's going on, you got Obi-Wan sneaking around on the ship trying to find the tractor beam thingy, and then Obi-Wan's there, and he's like, I swear, I feel like my old master is here. And then he talks with Tarkin, and he's like, I know Obi-Wan is here. I have to face him alone. And he's trying to go out there, trying to confront Obi-Wan once again. And you get back to the prison place, the stormtroopers show up, and then you got Han, Chewie, and Luke shooting down the big corridor where you got all the stormtroopers there shooting. They kind of just get pinned. There's no other way out of the place. And then you got Leia. She has an idea. She takes Luke's gun and kind of shoots something on the side here. Apparently that was the garbage chute, and they one by one they all take turns escaping by going into the garbage chute. And the next thing you know, they're all inside of this big, I don't know, garbage area. I don't know, they're kind of trapped there for a little bit. A big, I don't know, monster comes up and attacks Luke for a bit, but it goes away after a bit. But then the walls of the trash place start, closing in, and they have to try and survive, or try and, I don't know, get it to stop so that they don't get crushed. And then Luke, he's trying to get on the intercom, get on the comm link, trying to talk to 3PO, and he's like, "Hey, 3PO," and then you got 3PO and R2. They left the control room because some stormtroopers are there, and they managed to sneak out, and they're a little bit outside of the ship, but they don't see anyone. But then you still got the trash thing going, and then Luke's like, "Hey, 3PO, shut down all the garbage compactors," and then 3PO's like, "Oh, R2, shut it down, and R2 kind of does that, hacks into the Death Star system, and he kind of turns them off right at the very last second before they get crushed, and they kind of just and everyone there just kind of starts cheering in relief. This is another one of my favorite parts because 3PO kind of mistook all the cheers and stuff for cries of agony, and then he's like, "Listen to them, R2, die. It's all my fault." And then Luke's like, "Hey man, we're all right. Hey man, can you get us out of here?" So yeah, well, that's happening. You got Obi-Wan. He's kind of sneaking through this one place. This is where the tractor beam thing is, and kind of, I don't know, turns it off. Kind of takes a light switch and goes boop, and now there. Now the ship can leave. Here's the thing: the difficulty is get through it. So now you got Luke and Han now out of their stormtrooper disguises. You got Chewie, and now you got Leia. They kind of have to get through the Death Star and get back on the Millennium Falcon so that they can make a getaway. But not long after, they encounter a bunch of stormtroopers, and the group kind of gets separated. Han and Chewie kind of chase the stormtroopers for a little bit, and then they end up running from them because it's one of my favorite parts. You got the stormtroopers running, you got Han running after them like, "Ah!" And then he kind of stops there, and he's like, he has to run away real quick because he runs into a room filled with stormtroopers, and that part was funny. Well, luckily they were able to get away from them, and you got Luke and Leia. They kind of have to go through this big air shaft or whatever, and Luke gets a grappling hook from that stormtrooper utility belt, and the two of them kind of zip across like I don't know, Indiana Jones style or whatever. So now we get to one of the interesting parts. You got Obi-Wan, he's there, and then Darth Vader is sitting there on the other side of the hallway with his lightsaber. It's red, obviously, and Obi-Wan gets his lightsaber out, which is blue. Good. Red's bad. Blue is good. That's what I mean. Anyway, this is cool. You kind of got the two of them. you kind of got the two of them dueling, and it's actually pretty cool. You got these glowing laser swords going, and they kind of like fight each other. That's awesome. Anyway, you get to the hangar where the Millennium Falcon is. You got Han, Chewie, Luke, and Leia finally reunite, and then 3PO and R2 are there too. And the ship is of course surrounded by stormtroopers, so you still got Vader and Obi-Wan dueling, and then eventually the stormtroopers notice, and then they're like, "Hey, look! Oh, Vader is fighting someone with his lightsaber. Let's watch." And so while all the stormtroopers are out there looking at that, all the other guys see that, and they're like, "Wait, now's our chance. Let's get in the ship and get out of here." And then Luke sees Ben there, and he's like, "Hey, Ben, how you doing?" And then Obi-Wan's like, "Hey, Luke, how's it going?" And so this is happening. And then Obi-Wan purposely kind of lets his guard down for a second, and Darth Vader comes up, swings at him, strikes him like right at the neck. But here's the thing: Obi-Wan's body, it just kind of disappears. It's just leaving his robe and lightsaber. And then Luke is like, "No!" And the stormtroopers are like there, and they're like, "Oh crap! Pew pew pew!" And some more shooting happens, but then they all run back into the ship, and they kind of get the ship running, and then they set on their way. But it's not long before then when they have to evade, where they have to take care of the TIE fighters that are chasing after the Falcon. And so Luke and Han, they kind of go into parts of the ship where they get on these big chairs, and they kind of move around, shoot these big laser cannons at the TIE fighters. That was pretty cool. And luckily they were able to they were able to fight them off. That was very interesting. So now you got Luke, Han, Chewie, Leia, 3PO, and R2. They're in the Millennium Falcon. They head to where the Rebel base is, this forest place called Yavin 4. It's a moon. Anyway, they go to the Rebel base and all that, and they hook R2 up to a computer. Yeah, they kind of analyze the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. So you got the Death Star, right? This big thing here. Yeah, apparently right through the middle, there's like a little bit of a trench, like all around. It's like an equator kind of thing. Anyway, there's like a little thermal exhaust port, very tiny, right there, and they have to get those one-man fighters through the said trenches, and they have to shoot missiles in through the exhaust port, and it goes straight into the reactor. Missile hits the reactor, and the whole thing blows up. So the preparations for the final fight of this movie begin. Luke is gonna, be piloting one of these starships. They're called X-Wings, because their wings kind of look like an X shape. Of course, he's gonna have R2 with him on this fighter, and you get to Han and Chewie. They have suitcases full of money, and they're like, "Yeah, we got our payment. We're heading out now." Look, man, I'm sorry. I'd love to, stay in chat, but I'm kind of a bit of a wuss, when it comes to fighting the Imperial army. So, and then Luke's like, oh, "Come on, man, you should stay, man. You're a good, you're kind of doing a good cause. You're turning your back on these guys, you know." Yeah, of course, the Millennium Falcon is being tracked. So the Empire knows where the Rebel base is, so they have to orbit the planet to be in range of the moon so that they can fire the big laser at it so that it'll explode and kill everyone. So the thing is, the rebels have to get onto their fighters and blow up the Death Star before it fires its laser. So yeah, you got Luke. He gets his ship. His childhood best friend named Biggs is there too for some reason. That's pretty cool. Anyway, they hop into their X-wings and whatnot, and they're set on their way. Yeah, this begins a really awesome space battle. You know, but you got all these fighters. They're kind of zooming around the surface of the Death Star, shooting at stuff, shooting at, I don't know, laser turrets and other TIE fighters. Some of the good guy ships get destroyed, and so yeah, you got the bombing, but then you get to I don't know, the bombing ships. You know, they're called Y-wings. You know, you got the 3 ships there, but unaware of them, you got Darth Vader. He's there, and he has his own TIE fighter of a very different design. He comes up with like 2 other TIE fighters, and they come up from behind the rebels while they're in the trench, and they kind of shoot the 2 of them one by one. And you know, he unfortunately took out those bombing ships, so yeah, that kind of just leaves the X-wings. And so you got Red Leader, the call sign of the kind of the leader of the squadron. Luke is Red 5, so you got Red Leader and 2 other X-wings of no plot significance kind of go through the trench in hopes of shooting torpedoes at the exhaust port so that the Death Star will explode. And you got Vader and his ship. He's there. They're going along in the trench, and they kind of shoot the 2 guys. And you got Red Leader. He kind of reaches the exhaust port. He shoots the missile, and it doesn't kind of go in. It just impacts on the surface. And after that, Vader kind of shoots down Red Leader. And so yeah, with like literally 1 minute left until the Rebel base is in range of the Death Star, and we're just left with Luke's, I don't know, squadron. You got Luke's X-wing, you got Biggs, Luke's friend, and this other guy, his name's Wedge, and they're there with their X-wings on the ship. They're kind of going through they're like starting to go through the trench, and you got Vader. He's there behind him. Of course, Wedge kind of gets hit a little, but unfortunately his ship doesn't blow up, and so his ship is still damaged, so he kind of just bails. And so Vader then kills Biggs with his lightsaber. Yeah, that's very, very unfortunate. Luke's childhood best friend was just killed by an evil space cyborg dude. That's very sad. Anyway, you got Vader. He's piloting the ship, and he's like, "The Force is strong with this one." He shoots Luke's X-wing, and the laser kind of hits R2, and it kind of screws him up very badly, and that's bad. And right when Vader's about to deliver the final blow, Han shows up with the Millennium Falcon. he comes up and he shoots at those other two TIE fighters, and in the chaos, Vader gets launched into space, or what? The fighter gets launched into the spaces or whatever, and then Han's like, "Yeah, man, you're good now," and Luke, kind of using the Force instead of his, targeting computer, he shoots the missile, and good news, it goes into the exhaust port, and it causes the Death Star to finally explode with Tarkin still in it, and the remaining rebel guys, now triumphant and finally defeated the Death Star, finally make their return back to the rebel base where they are celebrated. You got Luke, Leia, and Han there in the hangar celebrating. R2's there, he's badly damaged, and they don't worry, they fix him. R2's in like all the other Star Wars movies, so he should be fine. So yeah, the movie ends with a big awards ceremony on the rebel base where Luke and Han get awarded for medals for their outstanding courage and achievement in saving the Rebel Alliance and potentially the galaxy. Chewie doesn't get one, unfortunately, but yeah, that was how Star Wars: A New Hope ends. And so, yeah, that movie was very, very awesome. I watched that movie a lot ever since I was a little kid, and it will always remain in the special place in my heart. And so, yeah, I really love this franchise as a whole, all the movies. Some more than others, but yeah, I look forward to doing the other Star Wars movies in due time. But for now, let's stop here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.